What's up, guys? Welcome back to Frugal BC, the channel that brings you crypto straightforward. We're not exclusively focused on Algorand, but we focus on a lot of our content is around Algorand because it just seems to work right. And today we get some really big news, some news coming in hot. So we're going to get to that. It involves Limewire again and Universal Music Group. So we're going to get to that. Look at some other Algorand news. We are going to look at the charts today and see what they're telling us, both the Algorand charts and the ASA charts, which are a bit interesting. A few surprises today, so we're gonna get into that, and then we're gonna talk about the bear market a little bit and what to expect, and then we're gonna answer your questions and take questions. So remember that you can, if you're watching now, you can leave a question in the chat, and I will respond to it toward the end of the podcast or end of the show. So be sure to ask anything you want, and we will answer it. I'll also be looking at some things that people asked me during the week. As we know, we just did one on Monday, so the news is a little light, but we got plenty to look at today. And hey, guys, if you love the channel, go ahead and hit that like button so we can show this to more people. I want people to get this message about Algorand and about crypto, and frankly about how to handle a bear market. So one of the things I want to get to before we get into the chart earlier in the week. Oh, if you're not subscribed to the channel, by all means, please do so. Anyway, chat is open, so remember to leave some comments and just say hi or give us some questions. As you know, about a couple of weeks ago, I did a video on the bear market, and I want to talk a little bit more about that today. But I'm really promoting that video because I think this is where people tend to make the most amount of mistakes, followed by all-time highs. That middle of the zone, like people just it doesn't really have a lot of effect on people. But when there's two areas where people make a lot of mistakes, and basically they violate the sell high, buy low rule. Everyone knows that. Everyone has heard of that. It makes intuitive sense to most people. However, most people simply don't do that. What they do instead is they get really, really excited when the prices are going up. And so they buy in usually at all-time highs. I saw this way back in 2017. The summer of 2017, I was buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin was at like 3,000. I think Ethereum was maybe at a few hundred. And every paycheck, I was just buying a little bit of it, just a little. I didn't want to buy too much. And then it started going up, and I was still buying a little bit, but then it really started skyrocketing around Christmas time. And I remember seeing some crazy behavior, like people borrowing way more money than they could possibly afford to buy Bitcoin at the very top. So this is not, I said, oh, this is a bubble. This is going to come crashing down. So I started taking some profits, selling off a little bit. And then once it started crashing, I just sold everything. I sold all my crypto, and I made a lot of money. It's not depending on how you look at it. I mean, I made probably six times my money, so about 600% I made. And that seemed like a big deal. That seemed pretty cool. But you know what? If I had either left it alone or taken some profits, and then when the bear market came, gotten back in, I would have done much better. There's some lessons there for that. But what happens is when the market is down like this, everyone panics. They sell. They lock in their losses, and you just end up taking the L. If you just hold on to your assets, eventually they'll go back up. We're going to get to something I want to talk about this. I'm going to do this next. I just found this. This just came out right before I went live, and it kind of sums up this is from Mr. Money Mustache, and it kind of sums up my thoughts on both stocks and crypto. It's kind of the same principle. And if you look at what he says, let's see where that is. Yeah, so okay, a 20% drop in stock prices is called a bear market, and they traditionally happen every few years, lasting just 9 months or so from the top. But in the Mustachian era, the year since 2011, when I started writing this blog, there's only been one, the 2020 COVID crash, which only lasted about a month. So he kind of went back through all the way back to 2000. So this is his 25, even in my 25-year investing lifetime, roughly 1997 to the present, there has been only a handful. And those include the March 2000 crash. From 2000 to September 2001, market was down about 36%. That lasted 18 months. That's the longest of any of these, by the way. Okay, my animals are fighting in the background. Yeah, January to October 2002, another .com housing crash, down 34%, duration 9 months. There was, of course, the Great Financial Crisis, otherwise known as the Great Recession generally. That was down 52%. That only lasted 14 months. That's something a lot of people don't think about. And the greater economy took a lot longer to respond, to rebound, but actually stocks went up pretty quick. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. So if you just left it alone, but a lot of people sold at the bottom. I knew people that sold at that bottom. I said, oh, you just locked in your losses. Probably better to at least hold on, if not better to invest. Anyway, in January, March of 2009, that was a 28% drop. That only lasted 2 months. And then, of course, the COVID crash, that only lasted a month. I made a lot of money on that COVID crash. So what did I do? I held on. I didn't sell. Instead, I just kept buying into that crash. And now this is rare because that was like a 1 month turnaround time. So I didn't have to, have that stomach pains while you watch you feel like you're just, because this is what it feels like. This is really important. I'm going to go back to the main screen here. Wait, how do I do that? There we go. Yeah, so this is really important because it feels like you're shoveling money into a furnace when you're buying at these rates. What you're doing is you're getting a sale, but it doesn't feel like that at the time. You'll understand later when you come out ahead, way ahead. But at the time, it feels like you're taking money and shoving it into a furnace, and that is a hard feeling. So this stuff is intellectually, this stuff isn't hard to understand at all. But emotionally, this stuff's pretty tough. You got to get used to it. You got to get ready for it. So March was a good little test because you could spend a little time. You didn't have that gut feeling for very long. It was like a month. Like I said, I kind of missed the peaks. I think I said this in past streams. I kind of missed the peaks on either end of it. And so I think now listen, when it comes to cryptos, you're gonna see some crypto projects washed out in this bear market. That's what happens. I don't think it's going to be Algorand. I don't think any of the top 30s are going to be in trouble. Some of them might be. You got stuff like the Terra Luna situation, which I've been reading a lot about. It is really interesting. The way it kind of came crashing down. I might do a video on it soon. Anyway, so that's just my thought. Go watch my video on the bear market. I really recommend that because I think it's the mindset that you need to get through this. Anyway, let's go look at the charts. So we're going to start with oops, I had Bitcoin pulled up. Yeah, so you can see Bitcoin still below that 30,000, Ethereum below 2,000. Cardano's around 50 cents, Solana about $50. Let's go all the way down to, and this is interesting because for a little while, I don't know if you guys caught this, but Algorand had actually passed Cosmos in total market cap. Obviously, that situation is since reversed. I believe that was earlier in the week that it did that. Maybe even a couple days ago. I don't think it was very long ago that Algorand had surpassed Cosmos in market cap, but as the price of Cosmos has gone up recently in the past, both on the 24-hour and the 7-day chart, that means it's gone back up, but its market cap is once again increased over Algorand. They're all in a pretty tight cluster here. I mean, we're talking about, a few hundred million, which sounds like a lot, but we're talking like 3.2 billion, 3.2 billion, 3.1 billion, 3.1, 2.9 for Algo, and so on and so forth. Algo hasn't had the best week, down a little bit today, 1%, down 5.4%. Let's just look at see what we're looking at here. So if you look at this, over 7 days, yeah, we were up a little bit during the week. We got up over 50 cents. It kind of plummeted back down. And you know what? Probably bought in this. When did I buy? Oh, no, I bought here. I bought around here, so I might be down a touch, but not bad. Yeah, and if we look at the 1 year, I mean, we were up way. You guys remember we were up at like in the $2 range. I know some people have bought up here. They're feeling it right now. Now me, I've been DCAing all the way back, way past this part. I was DCAing around this area, so some of the algo I have is at this price, some is there, probably about a little bit in here too. I just believe in buying a lot of Algorand, and I bought some this week. I just keep buying. I think Algorand's got a lot of future. I also bought Bitcoin and I bought Ethereum, and I've bought Solana recently too. Not yesterday, but oh, I didn't change that over. I apologize. Some live streamer, huh? Well, let's go to the. I always just think it's going to follow me. Let's go to the tiny chart here, and this is really interesting. So Yieldy up almost 10% today, and as you can see, it is up on the week as well. It is at 0.001. So you guys kind of remember when this thing was worth like a penny, or maybe even a penny and a half at some point. So we're still a long ways from that. But if you look, this is really interesting because if a lot of them are up on the day, if you scroll through, and a lot of them are up on the week too. We got Algo gems at like almost 18 cents. That's up 0.5% on the day and pretty far up on the week. I can just from looking at the chart. Cosmic Gold up to 10 cents. It's up 1.25% and appears to be up a little on the week as well. Zone up today. That might be down a little bit on the week. Gold down today, but maybe a touch up on the week. Planet had a big Planet, not so well. Planet's down 10% on the day and looks to be very much down on the week as well from the charts. Chips down just a touch today, but that is way up on the week, as is daily DeFi token up on the day and the week. Algo stake up 10%. You hear my animals? They are going bananas. Animals, can you not fight? Thank you. They fight like cats and dogs. Imagine that. Loudify, basically holding steady. Kind of down on the week, though. Not so great for Loudify. So that is the ASA charts. And if you look at the top gainers, Koala Coin at 85% up. Octorand up 34%. And R Capital up 30%. And looks like Octorand, Yieldy, and Koala Coin are trending right now. Popular is Yieldy and Octorand and whatever these three dots are. I don't know what that is. If you guys know, let me know in the chat because I've never seen that one. There's a lot of ASAs, man. There's a lot of them. You can't keep track of them all. So that's pretty interesting. So that's enough for that. Guys, remember, if you're watching live, go ahead and leave a chat. If you got any questions, I will answer them at the end of the show. And we'll be answering some stuff from YouTube. Go ahead and hit that like button if you love Algorand or you like Frugal BC or both. Go ahead and we want to show this to more people. So the more likes we get, the more people will see it. So I appreciate that, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd recommend you do so. Well, let's look at the big news. Enough about that. Enough of me yammering on about myself here. Let's check out. This is the big one. I think this is going to be huge. Universal Music Group to release NFTs on Limewire's Algorand marketplace. Dang, so this is the label that has Taylor Swift, U2, Kendrick Lamar, and BTS. And that label is going to let artists drop NFTs in the new Web3 version of Limewire. So I reported this before. I did a video a while back on how Algorand was partnering with Limewire. Limewire is an old school peer-to-peer music sharing service. And they will be launching a music-centric NFT marketplace on Algorand, but this used to be one of the illegal file sharing sites. I think it got loaded with like spam or malware and stuff way back in the day toward the end, But I used to be the place to go. Not that I ever would do such a thing, but you could download music, movies, TV shows. I think it was one of the first places to really get a lot of the TV shows that were out there. Again, allegedly, not that I ever did that. So let's just, digital music sharing services are coming back in Web3 form just days after the news broke that Napster will return in the form of an NFT marketplace on Algorand. Limewire, which announced its own Algorand-based marketplace in March, announced today that it has signed major label Universal Music Group to its platform. Yeah, this is really big. Their imprints include Interscope Records, Def Jam Records, Motown Records, Geffen, Republic Records, EMI, Virgin, and others. Yeah, Geffen was like in the 90s. That was like the label, man. That was all the cool stuff was on there. And so a bigger list: Taylor Swift, Kendrick Lamar, the Rolling Stones, U2, BTS, Chris Stapleton, The Weeknd, ABBA, and Elton John. That's quite a quite a collection there. Today's deal doesn't necessarily mean that any of those artists release NFTs via Limewire. They apparently will have the opportunity to. I got to think they're going to go for it. Kind of hard to say. You never know, right? The Limewire will be relaunched as an NFT marketplace, which usually focus on music-related assets, whether it's actual music or things like artwork and collectibles from musicians. I'm really curious about how this is going to work out. So apparently in April, they revealed that it raised a $10.4 million token sale led by Kraken Ventures and Arlington Capital and GSR, with some other firms like Crypto.com Capital and apparently Deadmau5's 720 Mouse Fund. Know about that? I like Mouse, kind of cool. I don't listen to it a lot, but I don't mind me some Deadmau5. According to the token sale announcement, LimeWire plans to begin its official launch campaign later this month. That's crazy. It's coming up pretty soon, huh? And then the marketplace will open soon thereafter. NFT explains what an NFT is. I think you guys know what an NFT is. Algorand is proof of stake. Well, yeah, we know. Build as a rival to Ethereum. Yeah, dang right? And way better. It's still funny that Ethereum. Well, I get it because it's first, but I just don't get how people are okay with the gas fees. Like, why that doesn't just shut it down. I'll never understand that. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. I did read through this, but yeah, and then they go and talk about Napster. Gorillas inspired virtual band based on a series of boards. So there's a Gorillas inspired virtual band based on a series of Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. The band will perform in metaverse worlds and sell its own NFTs too. Yeah, Gorillas was kind of an interesting group, kind of a hip hop group, if that's the right term. And no one knew who they were. I think they were kind of a super group of other artists, but I don't know. Did they ever say who they were? I don't know. I used to follow it back in the day, but that was a long time ago. I didn't even have access to the internet back then, I don't think. So I think that's some pretty big news. What do you guys think about that? You guys, the pure virus platform says reality for me. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that bad when I was first using it, but it got kind of bad toward the end, as I recall. Allegedly, not that I ever used it, because I would never do such a thing. Let's look at some more news. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that LimeWire. I actually had people warn me on Twitter when I posted my LimeWire video. Careful, it's spam. I'm like, well, it's obviously a new, platform. It's not the same one. All right, so this is interesting. Jump back to wormhole bridge expands to Algorand blockchain. The cross-chain bridge is hoping to capture some of Algorand's $136 million in DeFi TVL, total value locked, by the way. That's a very important metric. Crypto-backed cross-chain bridge wormhole has launched support for the Algorand blockchain. The Algorand partnership marks Wormhole's 10th integration with Layer 1 blockchain as developers focus on interoperability solutions. Popular Layer 1 or base layer blockchains such as Ethereum, Avalanche, and Solana cannot easily communicate with each other, meaning assets held on one blockchain are different to transfer onto and account for another. Yeah, so you guys know a little bit about this, right? There's some bridges. When tokens are bridged through Wormhole's portal bridge, the original token is locked in the smart contract while a new portal wrap version of that token gets minted on target chain. Then the wrap tokens can be traded for tokens native to the target chain used for decentralized finance or DeFi. We all know what that is. Yes, apparently Wormhole is a pretty big one. So, I mean, I don't know that I feel like I have a need for this necessarily. And there's already ways to, I think Go Mint is one of them where you can get wrapped Bitcoin in WB, or what do they call it? You can get wrapped Bitcoin and ETH. And then, Yuli has a bridge version too, I believe. So, but it's kind of cool that this is a pretty big one, apparently. Oh, it was also hacked, by the way. The Solana Ethereum bridge was hacked last February, so that's a bummer. Great news for the builders. Yeah, integration of what a terrible web design. Integration of Algorand to Wormhole's network is great news for builders of this ecosystem, said Michael Dada of Rand Labs, an Algorand developer who collaborated with Wormhole on the integration. It will allow us to access all the liquidity that exists outside of Algorand, significantly boosting the TVL of the network. According to its website, Wormhole currently boosts integrations with blockchains Avalanche, Terra, and Polygon, among others, and has racked up over $760 million in total value locked. Cool. Well, great. I think that's good news for Algorand. Anytime, any stuff like this where it gets piped into other chains, always a good thing when you can switch back and forth between the two. So I think that's good news. And before I get to our last news item, hey guys, remember you can leave a question in the comments and I will answer it on toward the end of the show. Also, we'll be answering some from YouTube this week. I don't think I got a lot, but we'll go through those and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. Please. Thank you. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Here's the next one. This is pretty cool. Let me just pull up this tab. The Algorand Foundation is going to host a May community all hands thing. It's like a live stream, I guess. And that is only in 3 days, 18 hours. It is happening on Tuesday. That's 11 a.m. Central Time. So different, obviously, depending on if you can go to. That's that's a very long address, but basically, I'm sure you can Google Algorand. In fact, here's what I'll do. I'm just gonna put that in there. There's the link if you guys want to check out the live stream yourself. I'm also planning, I hope, depends on how my work schedule goes, but I would really like to live stream the live stream. So if I can do this, I will try to do this, and we can kind of talk about things as they come up. Especially because you can pause live video, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll just read it through here. It's like, join the Algorand Foundation team for our first community all hands featuring CEO Stacy Warden. We're eager to connect with the Algorand community, discuss recent announcements and program changes to our governance program. I guess program changes to our governance program. You got to hire copywriters, man. Grants program and ecosystem funding initiatives. We will also share the upcoming community news and updates. See, man, dude, I do this for a living. Copywriting stuff copy mistakes makes me insane. And I know we all make them. But it's pretty short, so they got a big enough team. They should have been able to catch that. Okay, we invite all registrants to submit questions for our panelists and event registration form on the event registration form. So please keep questions to the topics at hand. We'll do our best to answer them all. Topics for this community discussion include Algorand community governance, voting session changes, and new measures. Now, I think I told you guys I am not in governance this time. I got booted myself out because you know what? There's just so many great opportunities to earn high yields that I just don't. I start to feel like your vote doesn't really count, right? If the whales want to do something, it's going to happen, and I'm not a whale, so I don't know. What's the point anymore, right? Good for them. It's fine. They can do what they want. Hopefully it's good for the ecosystem, but it's like, why lock this money in to vote when your vote doesn't really count? That's my opinion. Disagree, agree, leave a chat in the comment. Closure of grants program, and then the grants ecosystem funding, the closure of grants program. That's interesting. Vertical strategy, DeFi, NFTs, games, sustainability, and developer funding. So I'm thinking like maybe this is a good chance for me to I've had questions about the way they vet their grants, and nobody's responded to me. It doesn't sound like the Algorand Foundation is very responsive, because I've seen other people say that they've asked questions and not gotten them. And maybe this is my chance to get those questions answered, because I wanted to know how they were vetted. But this says a closure of the grants program, so that's kind of a bummer. Okay, animals, can you stop fighting? Thank you. This is going to be a theme today. The animals are fighting. I have a dog and a cat. A golden retriever and a black and white kitty that I rescued. So they like each other, but they fight. Like, they're not like super mean to each other, but they just kind of like growl and grumble and bounce around. It's kind of fun. So anyway, keep an eye on that. And I think that should work out. It should work out that I would be able to live stream that. That's my goal. So I may not be able to stay for the whole thing, but I'd really like to try to, maybe go on about 10 minutes beforehand and talk a little bit, and then we can kind of watch it together. That'd be fun. I think that'd be really neat. I'll just get started my work early so it's all done. Yeah, so here's besides Stacy Warden, there will be Johanna Moran, head of developer outreach at the foundation, Ronan Breen, digital marketing manager at the foundation, and Autumn Moss Penaloza, and she doesn't have a title, so who knows who she is. But it should be interesting. I'd be curious what they have to say. It's kind of interesting that the title is like grants and ecosystem funding, but they're talking about closing the grants program. I don't know what that's about. So that'll be very interesting to see. All right. Well, that's what I got. You guys got any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go take a look at the questions we got from the week. Let's see. Yeah, someone asked me about Alchemon and on Yieldy, and I think that's pretty interesting because I don't know if you guys have been looking at Yieldy. It's pretty interesting that, but I think a lot of people don't know about the benefits of Yieldy. Like they were asking about buying the critters and for the Alchemon game. What a lot of people don't know, I think, is that if you hold the NFTs in your wallet, you get Alka coins sent to you every week. So I've been getting Alka coins sent to me on a weekly basis for a while. So I had a pretty big thing of it. So when the Yieldy thing came out, I had a whole bunch of Alchemon to pair to Yieldy. So I thought that was pretty cool. If any of you guys playing the Alchemon game, or do you have a favorite game? Have anyone been able to play Zone? I just can't play it. Every time I try to log in, it just spins. It never logs in right. I've been wanting to review it. I just can't because I can't play it. So I'd be curious what you guys have to say about that. Let's see. Going back through, what else questions did I get? Oh, someone asked what my, this is a good one. E4 asked this one. Well, first they asked if I was diamond handing my algo and ASAs. And answer is yes. I'm not selling anything in response to the bear market. I don't believe that's a good idea. I kind of talked about that at the top of the show today, but I think it's pretty important to hold on. These are the times where you got to hold on. Maybe you consolidate towards some of the stuff you feel more strongly about. But the worst thing you can do is sell some of your major assets right now because you're just locking in your losses. And let's see. Somebody asked about accumulation targets and also thoughts on accumulating Yieldy. And I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that, but also it's not really my strategy isn't necessarily buying ASAs, but what I'm doing is I'm buying Algorand and then I'm deploying that to different platforms. So some of that might mean, yeah, I am swapping for other assets in some ways, but not necessarily. I'm not like swapping just to get the asset. I'm swapping so that I can participate in either Yieldy or Algo Fund or Algo Stake, all of those. So that's kind of so. And then as far as like price accumulation targets, I don't really have any. I'm just kind of buying. It's a good time to buy, so I'm buying. And when they're at all-time highs, I just don't buy. I'll buy stocks or even hold on some cash. That's not a bad thing to do, or put it in stable coins. They're starting to crack down on that now. Like Celsius is no longer doing rewards of any kind. If you had it locked in, you still get it. But now anyone new putting in stuff in Celsius, as far as I know, you don't get any rewards. So it's like you might as well just keep it on Coinbase then, right? Unless you trust Celsius more than Coinbase. But I think I'm bigger on Coinbase, frankly. The rewards are the only reason I put it over into Celsius in the first place. Let's see, do we get any more? That was kind of a weird one about. Well, this Lili said that only 1 million people could ever get 10,000 algo, so that is a reasonable medium-term goal, in my opinion. And it's like, okay. I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes some sense, I guess, but I just don't have an opinion on that comment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's kind of a slow week for comments, but I also didn't put out a video. It's just been, man, I've just been busy, man. But no excuses. Anyway, you guys got any more questions? Because kind of running out of material here. So, going once, going twice. I think it's hello, snipe or snip. Any questions? Leave them in the stream. I'm just about done with the show. Otherwise, I just think it's really interesting that Algorand has been kind of going down, and that the ASAs have been, a lot of the ASAs are actually doing pretty well. So it kind of just goes to show this stuff is really hard to determine. It's hard to guess what's going to be doing great when. And it's also why I just think it's generally a good strategy in the bear market to kind of hold on. If you didn't have, you lost your chance to sell out or to sell into, like, say, stable coins. Time to do that was when at all-time highs, and I did take some profits when Algorand was at all-time highs. I was selling some off, and then I kind of got back in, probably around the $1.50 range. That stuff's still down, but I definitely made some money there. Snip Snipe asks, and I'll put him on the screen. So why are there so few YouTube influencers on Algo? That's a good question, and there's a couple of different ways I can answer it. One reason I would say is that, as I was covering in the market cap earlier, it is down to 29th now, and it's never really been much higher than that. Like I said, it was 27 earlier in the week. So I think if you're a YouTuber, maybe your goal is to, if you wanted the widest reach possible. That's not my goal. I mean, I want to grow too. Everyone does, but my goal is to be honest first. Like, there's a lot of money in talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Plus, they've been around longer, so that makes sense too. A lot of the bigger YouTubers have just had time in the game, so they're around longer. So they're going to be talking about your Bitcoin and Ethereum, and maybe a little bit of Algorand. But the other thing I'll answer on that is I'm not sure, because I just don't understand why more people aren't talking about Algorand. I didn't get into this to start an Algorand channel, and I still don't consider this an Algorand channel. But I talk about Algorand more than anything, just because in all the blockchains that I've tried, it just seems to work the best. I don't know of any other ones that work better, from my opinion. I've done a little bit in Solana, and I've been pretty happy with that so far, but I haven't explored it a lot. Because once I got into Algorand, there's just a lot of stuff to do. But I have been doing some staking on Solana, and that's been going pretty well. And I do hold the coin. Cardano so far has just been a total disaster. So yeah, I think so there's kind of two parts to that. One, why are there fewer YouTuber influencers? Because I just think Algo is too far down the food chain to attract too many people. But there's others. My man Crypto Hour, I haven't seen him in a while, but he's one of my favorites, and he talks about Algorand a lot. Crypto Nerd is just tearing it up with, like, not just having a YouTube channel, but then doing all these projects too. There's some other ones like JT Invest in You, and what was the other one? There's another one. There's a few out there. But yeah, they're not huge yet, because Algorand just hasn't been around that long as part of it, and also it's just not far enough up the food chain. Let's see. Jason Dixon asks, "Do you hold any other proof of stake coins?" Yeah, I do. Well, I'll just go through all the coins I own. I actually own a lot of different. I own small amounts of a bunch of little ones, but ones that I hold a lot in. I do have Bitcoin, which is obviously not proof of stake, and I have a fairly decent amount of Ethereum, but that's transitioning to proof of stake, but isn't there yet. And We can go on about the promises that are continually made about about Ethereum going to proof of stake. I've been hearing that for a long time, or them actually fixing the problems with Ethereum. Uh, that's one of the things where I just can't understand why Algorand is as unpopular as it is so far, although it's really growing. I think, and why Ethereum is so popular when it's such a disaster to use. And as you guys know, I talked about last week, and I still want to make this reaction video. This idea that Algorand wallets are hard to use, but MetaMask is easy. I'm like, that's just I just don't understand that one. That's crazy, right? Let's see, but no, I own some Solana, I own some Cardano, I own decent, and these are ones with decent amounts. I got a bunch of little ones because I always do the Coinbase, when they give you an option to try something out. In fact, I think that's how I got my first Algorand, was from that Coinbase Learn program. So I think that's great because you just gain these coins, and if you don't want them, you can always flip them into something else that you do like. But it's basically free money. I think I made like $100 on that or something like that over the years. Which is kind of crazy that they just give it to you. But it's all about adoption, so it's valuable to the company too. That's why they do that. Gosh, what else? Oh, Cosmos. I have a really big. I can't believe I forgot that one. Now, I have not dove into any of the Cosmos DeFi scene, but I own a lot of Cosmos because it has a pretty good percentage on Coinbase, and that's another one where when it was high, I sold off and took some profits, and then when it came back down, I bought back in. Now it's down really low, so actually, if it stays there next time I get paid, definitely will be buying some more Cosmos. Yeah, I would like to get more into that ecosystem. So I'd say that's another one I'm pretty big on. And I own like teeny amounts and a whole bunch of other different ones. So let's see what and then Snip Snipe. Is it Snip Snipe? Am I saying that right? Is anyone who touches Algo and they say seems to think it's the best platform. Why is it not more widely recognized? What are the issues that Algo faces? Yeah, and I kind of just talked about that too, but yeah, that's a good question. And the one thing I'll say is Algorand is still pretty new compared to a lot of other coins, so that's one of the reasons. And after a while, people kind of get sick of new coins, so it's a marketing problem. There's a marketing issue there. I think we're going to see that change, though. Hopefully, it might be such that people are kind of using it without caring about it. You know what I mean? Like, so FIFA is using Algorand. As I announced last week, FIFA announced that Algorand is going to be their blockchain partner. So what you might get is you might get a lot of people who don't really want to. You might get a lot of people who are using Algorand because they're big FIFA fans and they want to join the NFTs. But then after that, but they're not really like Algorand. They're not really interested in Algorand. They just want to use whatever it is that gets them the FIFA NFT, right? So I think that's kind of what we're going to see with this. And now with this Limewire, so what's going to happen is Algorand is basically going to be in the background, and people just aren't going to care that much. And what's cool is they don't have to, because you're not paying like those crazy gas fees like you would Ethereum. Like if you're doing this on Ethereum, you become really aware of Ethereum really fast, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to pay like $40 in gas fees. Oh, guess what? Now I got to pay another round of that. That's kind of nuts, right? So that's probably part of it. And I think we're going to see, like I said, I really think we're going to see more adoption with these. This and the Limewire news is pretty big news, because what it's going to mean is it's going to be a blockchain that's operating a lot in the background, and that can really drive up usage. Let's see here. So Greg Ibanez, am I saying that right? Apologize if I'm not. He says, what is your opinion regarding the measures to be voted on in governance? Well, let me pull those up. It'll just take me a second. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you were on at that part. Algorand Foundation governance. I'm actually out of governance. And the reason why Okay, so measures, yeah, including DeFi participants and governance. The Algorand Foundation believes that the active participation. Oh, I should show you guys. Yeah, let me let you read along here. Sorry about that. The Algorand Foundation believes that active participation in decentralized finance is fundamental to the health of the Algorand ecosystem and that our governance platform must do a better job of recognizing and rewarding the outsized contribution of DeFi participants, large and small. So basically, yeah, we're going to decide between granting governor status and twice the voting power to qualified DeFi projects as described below, whilst maintaining the same governance rewards for algo holders that commit for the governance period, or keep the status quo. Yeah, actually, this is great because, and I had looked at this when they updated this. I think this is probably going to pass too. This is good because that was just the problem I was talking about. The whole reason I kicked myself out of governance is like there's just better opportunities. So why should you lock your stuff into governance and get like, God, what is it, like 2% for the period, maybe like 7% overall, when you can earn so much more in all these DeFi projects, which is what is good for the ecosystem too, right? So yeah, it makes a lot of sense with me. Now, the one caveat, and I've said this before, the one caveat there is that if you are very risk averse, governance is a good option. It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest return, but it's basically guaranteed as long as you do your voting. And so apparently it's going to be like certain qualified projects. Now that's interesting because what's going to qualify and what not? So apparently the projects themselves have to vote in the governance period. Interesting. So I fully admit that I didn't pay much enough attention to this, and I'll have to dig into it. But my first instinct is, yeah, that's a pretty good thing because we want people to participate in DeFi, and you don't want people to have to keep one pool of money for just to hold in governance so they can vote, while you have this other pool participating in DeFi. And let's see. XGO. So option A is a proven mechanism as described below, establishing a process for bringing community measures to governance votes. The community at large can propose measures. The expert governors vote to promote them to governance level, subject to final editing. Or keep the status quo, where the foundation basically brings it up. Yeah, I mean, so I was wondering how this was going to work because it didn't make a lot of sense, and I still am not. I'm guessing that the expert governors, the ex govs, I'm guessing they're gonna be limited in how many they can choose because there's got to be, right. Like, I don't know if it's going to be one or two or what, but it's got to be where there's going to be a limit to how many they can bring because you're not going to have like 50 things to vote on every time. That would be crazy. So yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'll be curious to see how that goes. Almost makes me wish I had stayed in, but not quite. And Snip Snipe says, "Thank you for your content." Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. See, and virtual reality for me says, "Aren't algo mostly held by a few whales?" I thought I'd heard. Um, how would you put that? There's definitely whales in this space, but I think there's a lot of non-whales too. But what happens with governance is mostly the whales get all the they're the ones who end up deciding stuff because they just have the most algo, and it's your each algo kind of counts as a vote, right? So it's like, why even that's why I kind of think like, well, why even bother participating in governance? Like, it's not like your vote really counts for anything anyway. We saw that where I think it was the first vote, if I remember right, where it was kind of leaning one way, and then all of a sudden a couple whales voted, and that was it. It was like it completely washed the other way. I think that was on the was it the second vote? Gosh, I can't even remember now. But yeah, you can see you can kind of see that from the Algorand stats. If you dig into the data, you can kind of see that there's some big whales that hold a lot of the cards here, not as yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much is held by a whale versus. I mean, there's some big players in this space. The like Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch. You probably know him from. You probably heard his name in the news from the Trump era, but he's like big on Algorand. If you check out Mooch FM, it's actually kind of an interesting listen. It was funny because he was like super pro Trump, then he kind of went like non-Trump, and now he's sort of this sort of moderate voice, which is really interesting. But he's really into crypto. Uh, I believe he's involved with Art Capital, like Kathy Woods, if you've heard of her. So like the Mooch is super pro Algorand, which is really interesting. So I would have to think whatever platform he owns it through, I gotta think he's a whale. And there's definitely other whales in the space, but there are Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that. So yeah, interesting. Okay, any other questions? I'm starting to lose my voice, but good session. Yeah, we went on for a long time, over 45 minutes. That's pretty cool. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Remember to hit that like button if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel so you can see all these. I try to do these every Friday. I know sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's usually my plan. And well, it just amazes me that I can talk for 45 minutes. I'm kind of an introvert, so uh, surprises me. But thanks, guys. Thanks everyone for asking questions. Really appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in. And make sure to please check out that video about the bear market. I think it's a really important one it's really important to get your mindset right with this bear market, because this stuff can wreck people if you do the wrong thing. Anyways, thanks again, guys. Take care. And as always, we will see you